The husband comes home from work, she's all shy, the lights are closed, 2-3 pumps finished, and he got to sleep, and she thinks she's done her duties, and that's next 20 years.
The vaginal orgasm. Explain that. How does a person help his wife achieve that? This brother, mashallah, tabarakallah, he is currently studying under Andrew Huberman.
How long do you think that first round should last?
8-10 minutes.
8-10 minutes. The average people say. From penetration till you climax, you should be at least 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Not a problem. You know what the healthy average is for intercourse with your wife?
What is it?
Intercourse should be about a week on average. I only started researching how to properly, actually scientifically grow the length of your penis after brothers came to me and said, you know what, we feel that our penile length is too small.
And they said it was 2 inches.
2 inches, 3 inches, akhi. I ended up in a situation where I ended up with the second wife, and it was a sad situation. I'd never been more unhealthier, to the point where I was gonna.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Righteous and Rich podcast. Today I'm joined with a very esteemed guest. This is, to say he is my physio would be undermining him. This brother, mashallah, tabarakallah, who sits across from me is actually a PhD. He has a PhD in pain management, Allah barik. He is currently studying under Andrew Huberman, Professor Andrew Huberman. He meets with him on a weekly basis. You're doing a master's in sleep
psychology.
A master's in sleep psychology. Allah barik. You spent some time in the British military, went to Afghanistan and Iraq, stuff that we're going to discuss on a separate podcast, which you've repented for.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Still repenting.
Allah barik. I found you to be an extremely beneficial asset to the Ummah, Brother Imran, because when I hear you speak, and people are going to hear you speak today, it's like you are the Andrew Huberman of the Muslims. And I don't even want to say that because you could be bigger and better than him. And you can be. There's absolutely no reason why not. I don't want to equate you to that person as if that's your bottleneck. But we don't have academics amongst the Muslims. And inshallah, we're going to be doing a lot of research together and doing some publications together. But you're also a physio.
Yes.
And just to mention here, and I've not been asked to say this, but I've had pains in my body for over 10 years now. Back pain, neck pain, hip pain, all sorts of stuff. I've been to chiropractors. I've spent so much money. I've been to orthopedic specialists. And subhanAllah, after one session with this brother, with Allah's permission, I cannot explain to you how I felt. Because the difference between a guy who's got a PhD, who understands the body in that way, and a guy who's just doing a massage or doing some clicks, worlds apart. I wasn't able to do squats because of my hips and everything being tight. After 5 minutes, with the last mission, I was able to do squats. So that's just to mention what you do on your day to day. But today I have some questions for you that are very, very important, pertinent questions, things that you speak about quite a lot. You're quite vocal about things that are sub-disciplines of what you do at work and what you studied. And there's also some of these things that are core. For example, we're going to talk about sexual performance for men in the bedroom. This is a big issue. We're talking about misunderstandings with prophetic medicine. We're going to talk about how to manage pain inside your body. We'll talk about exercise in general. Like, there's so much talk. People complicate it so much, cardio and strength training and how to lose weight and how to, put on weight. You've got a very simplified way of going about it. We're also going to talk about actions of the heart. Because one of the things that I reflected upon after speaking with you, and I also watch Andrew Huberman's podcast, is that there's a huge correlation between neuroscience, neurobiology, and actions of the heart, such as sincerity, gratitude, shukr, and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about these things. First and foremost, let me introduce you. Your name is Imran Khan. And I'm going to let the people know today, my name is also Imran Khan. They don't know this. Yeah, I go by Imran Ibn Mansur. Yes. Prior to that was Dawah Man. Since we started making content for righteous and rich entrepreneurs, I've gotten so many messages from brothers who've been inspired and want help making money online. They're hungry for financial freedom so they can seek knowledge, do hijrah, and live life on their terms with Allah's permission. But here's the truth. I can't help you. I personally only work with 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs. With that said, there is one brother that I trust more than anyone else that helps beginners start their online businesses with Allah's permission. In fact, I've sent him dozens of brothers already, and time again, he's helped them make consistent money online. Look, I have a lot to lose by putting my name behind someone I don't have full confidence in, But this brother, I vetted him and his team and his method. I trust him with Allah's permission. Which is why I'm ready to risk my 10-year plus reputation on telling you this brother, he will help you make money online, inshallah ta'ala. So if you're interested, go to the link below and you can apply for his mentorship. With that said, let's get back into the discussion. Dave, look, the first time we met, the first conversation that we had was about sexual performance, right? We were sitting around a dinner table with a bunch of brothers in Oman. It was a man's cave. It was a man's cave. And I really appreciate that conversation because being in the da'wah space, I come across real live problems. Sometimes real life problems you get shunned for actually speaking about them, addressing them.
The taboo.
But this is a problem. I tried my best to be as authentic in the past as possible in addressing these issues. Found a lot of backlash. Of course, sometimes there was ways that I could have spoken about things better. Because when you're dealing with things that are of a vulgar nature, it's very important to not be vulgar in the way you address it. Yeah. I don't think I ever was vulgar, but I was bordering, a bit too directness in it. And I found in recent years that I just maybe stepped back from it. But at the same time, I know it's a huge problem because I know a brother who's very close to me who had a huge performance issue. And this brother had never done zina. He'd never watched pornography in his life. Never. Never, ever. It's not even like a subtle thing. I know this for a fact. And when he got married, I think for like almost most of the first year, he wasn't able to
consummate the marriage.
He wasn't able to get erect. Yeah, he wasn't able to.
Okay.
And it messed him up, and the pressure it caused in marriage. Very stressful. So, and we hear these stories all the time. These are big issues.
Yeah.
So break this down to us, right? Why is it that men are not able to perform? We're talking about stamina, right? Just reiterate for us what we were discussing that day.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to just come at this quick side mission in terms of my interest in this.
Yes, please.
I don't want people to think I'm sat there watching and reading all this stuff for just my own personal kind of enjoyment. This is something that came to me after many years, actually. I've spent years, I mean years, absolutely a decade, sitting in a room with young men doing therapy with them. Yeah. Whether it's physiotherapy, whether it's pain management, whether it's fixing injuries, and oftentimes, and as we started conversations, this whole podcast has come about with us having conversations in therapy.
It's true. I was telling about the other day, I was like, when you got a physiotherapist, a guy who's touching your actual flesh, for an hour.
You open up.
You open up.
Wallah, you open up. You open up, and I found this, and it was only after a few years that I realized that, what? Sometimes these sessions become very deep. I end up listening to these guys' stories and their hurts and their pains, even their celebrations. Yeah. I had one guy, he put so much trust and faith in me, subhanallah, and he's a beautiful brother from Bolton. So much trust and faith in me. The day his wife went into labor, he rings me and he goes, Imran, my wife is going into labor. What do I do? I went, Akhi, I'm not a gynecologist. I'm not a midwife. What are you calling me for? He goes, Akhi, should I go to the hospital right now? I said, Akhi, call the ward, man. I said, call the maternity ward. Ask him what you need to do. But he had that much faith.
But look, even I wouldn't have known that you should call the maternity ward at that time.
Ajib, honestly. And then his child is born. A couple of hours later, he rings me, Imran, I've picked a few names. What do you think?
Oh, wow.
I said, subhanAllah, I said, Akhi, speak to your mum and dad, speak to your friends and family. I said, I appreciate you, wallahi, subhanAllah, that you've thought of me in this situation. But this is what the kind of level of trust they build in you, And there's been many occasions like this. Yeah. And what inevitably started happening was we started having discussions about their physical health, which then led into health of sexual nature, whether it's performance issues, whether it's stamina, whether it's premature ejaculation.
So what do you think is the key issue? Or what are like the three main issues that people have?
Okay. Let me ask you a question first. What do you think? Okay, what do you think? And the reason I'm asking you is because I almost get the same answer from the majority of people. Yeah. And they always turn to the same solution. Yeah. What do you think is the percentage of men and women? We'll include both because this is important for both men and women. What do you think the percentage of men and women who suffer from sexual issues, whether it's premature ejaculation, whether it's erectile dysfunction, whether it's poor lubrication, doesn't matter what it is, suffering from sexual issues in that nature, what do you think the percentage of them is due to hormonal imbalances? So hormone related. Testosterone, estrogen. What percentage do you think is because of those reasons?
Would it really, okay, so it could be hormonal and it could be psychological,
It could
right?
be so many other factors.
Okay, could be
but
so many other-
hormonal seems to be one everyone focuses on.
Okay.
Everyone says, "Oh, I need TRT, I need testosterone replacement therapy,
I see.
and I don't have enough estrogen, I don't have enough prolactin."
I
You know,
would have thought half, 50%.
it's about 4 to 5%.
Okay. So people are focusing on the
Slither
wrong thing.
on the wrong thing. It's a slither.
Okay.
It's absolute slither.
So testosterone, estrogen, not the issues here.
Yeah.
Not the primary issue.
Just this morning, I was going over some blood work with a brother.
Yeah.
He came in, he had some blood work done with me. I was looking at his blood work, and he's struggling. This is exactly the issue that is happening, oddly enough.
As in stamina issues?
Sexual health issues. He's having erectile dysfunction issues.
Okay.
And
May Allah
we were
make
going, and as we were going through his blood work, everything was in order. Testosterone was fine, DHEA
Okay.
was fine, SHBG, all the markers that I would typically look at were fine.
We're fine.
So we have to then go down a different direction. Okay, so sometimes it can be, these three things. Sometimes it can be hormonal, but that's oftentimes the lesser case.
Okay.
What typically happens is someone will start hormone replacement therapy, whether it's testosterone, and other things. And what they'll find is when they're taking these additional hormones to supplement themselves so they can improve their blood work, what they'll find is, yes, there's slight improvements that they see. But oftentimes it's the equivalent of, for example, let's say if you're driving your car and you've got an issue with your engine. Yeah. Instead of fixing the engine, what you do is you tow your car with another car. Yeah. Yes, you're going to continue driving. The car will continue moving, but you now need two cars to move the one car.
Yeah.
Why not just fix the engine? Why not just fix the root of the problem? So this is what we were kind of dealing with.
Okay.
The secondary issue that we see, I would say at least 30 to 40% is psychological issues.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely psychological issues.
30 to 40%.
30 to 40%, if not more. Okay. And this is based on data that we're looking at where people have actually opened up about it.
So psychological issues are directly resulting in premature ejaculation.
That's a big one. Erectile dysfunction is a big one.
Okay.
And oftentimes what happens is people don't have an issue having an erection. They just don't have the desire. There's no arousal. They don't want to. They are literally turned off.
Because this brother I was telling you about, he wanted to, but he couldn't.
They couldn't. So for himself, I would see in that situation, I would say if someone wants to, they really want to, I would then have to break it down further. Do they want to just have intercourse, or do they want intercourse with a specific person in a specific way? Do they want to have intercourse with their partner?
I think what he was saying, because this is how he managed to overcome it, it was an anxiety thing.
Yes,
He felt anxious for having to perform. He'd never done it before. No one ever taught him what to do. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he felt pressure. And then that became a knock-on effect that every time the pressure compounded and it compounded. And then it just became
This is a direct example of the benefit of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaching us about these things. A direct example. It's become a taboo. In our society, to sit there and discuss these things openly and educate ourselves has become a taboo. When I speak about the anatomy of the female anatomy, when I'm telling people this is the clitoris, and they're like, what is that? I'm like, well, this is the labia. Like, what is that? They're just confused. What are the erogenous zones? What areas would you stimulate to pleasure your partner, pleasure your wife, your missus? No idea. Well, what do you think is going to happen? If you sit in a car and you don't know how to drive, you're going to feel anxious. Of course you're going to feel anxious. You're going to sit there and think, what do I do? Yeah? And then I put you on the highway. Drive. Yalla, drive. You're going to feel even more anxious.
Yeah.
It's going to be scary.
Yeah.
So imagine you're in that situation where you're expected to pleasure your wife for the first time. There's her first experience as well. Oftentimes this is the case. It's your first experience. You're the leader because you're the man. You're meant to be educated. You're meant to know what you're doing. And this is going to directly be part of who your identity is in front of your wife.
Yeah, 100%.
She's going to look at you as a negative, positive way, depending on how you perform right now. Yeah, this is it now. Yeah, and oftentimes first impressions. Yeah, that first impression, if it's not mind-blowing, it's going to be an issue later on. Yeah, and there's a lot of expectations. We're living in a world where, unfortunately, due to social media, the rise of all these communication networks that we have, the expectations are great. They're huge. Huge expectations. We've heard about so-and-so's husband doing it so-and-so well. We've heard about so-and-so having 3 kids and they can't keep their hands off each other.
Yeah, one thing I can say to you as an absolute matter of fact, based on all the cases that I've dealt with and all the emails that I've received in a decade plus in da'wah, expectations are there.
Expectations.
Even the sister who, may Allah reward her, who is so modest and so miskeen, has absorbed, even if it's unintentionally and subconsciously, from her surroundings, and then expectations been created.
Yeah. The funny thing is, expectations aren't a bad thing.
Yeah.
I say to people, yes, you should absolutely be thinking, what would so-and-so think of me? But the right people,
Yeah.
What is wrong with you sitting there thinking, subhanallah, if my sheikh was here right now, if my teacher was here, who I respect, who's an honorable man, what would he think of me? What would he think of the situation? Take it beyond that. What would the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam think of the situation if he was sat here right now?
I mean, look, in marriage, your wife needs to think of you in a good way. If she doesn't, there's not going to be respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's break it down. So let's just say it's a psychological issue. A man's having erectile dysfunction. How does he fix this?
That's a long journey. That oftentimes it's usually not one thing. You have to break. And there's something called CBT. I don't know if you're familiar with CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. This is something I encourage a lot of guys to go down the route of. You know, if you're struggling and it's been identified, you know, you make up to someone like myself and I might identify, okay, it's more than likely a psychological issue. Okay, I oftentimes recommend CBT. Because CBT is a good, and it's nothing, I wouldn't say it's anything special. Apologies to any CBT therapists sat there, you know, listening to this. I don't mean it in the way that it's not a good thing. I mean that it's not special in the sense that it's overly complicated and it needs a lot of explanation.
What is CBT?
It's cognitive behavior therapy. What you're essentially doing is you're breaking down and figuring out the triggers that are causing your issue. And then you're finding very systematic, organized ways of managing those things. Okay. Usually takes about 8 to 10 sessions. At the end of those sessions, you should be in a position where you can now handle those situations more comfortably.
So you do CBT?
Sometimes. Yeah. Okay. It's very rare occasions I'm doing. I'm doing one patient right now. I don't push myself into it too much. It takes a lot of time, headspace. You know, if you're going to do CBT properly, it can stress you out. So I don't like giving. And it takes a lot of research, a lot of writing, a lot of note taking. You know, a lot of deep thinking. You have to analyze things very deeply if you're good at the CBT. So, yeah, I would recommend CBT definitely. Go down that route. What you'll be able to find in that journey of CBT is they're figuring out what the issue is from a psychological perspective, and then they'll give you framework to use to help fix that. Okay. You know, if you're anxious, what's causing anxiety? What's triggering it specifically? Not just because
you deal with the triggers. You deal with the triggers.
The triggers.
I guess like breathing could help, maybe framing it in your mind in particular.
A lot of framing it in your mind, yes. Breathing, not so much. Breathing more physical.
Okay.
And if you're not suffering from physicality, there's certain things with breathing you can do. You know, relaxation, changing your hormonal imbalance. You know, there's something called I don't know if you've heard of this, the physiological sigh. So the physiological sigh, Huberman talks about this a lot. The deep, forced sigh out. You're expelling huge amounts of carbon dioxide, which is allowing you to then calm yourself down. Yeah, you stimulate your phrenic nerve, and it calms you down. You know, it's quite a literal physiological response.
No, it actually really is helpful. Whenever I find myself getting overwhelmed or getting stressed, I do that.
Go back to the basics.
3 to 10 of them, resets you.
SubhanAllah, go back to the basics, isn't it?
As the CEO of a highly influential Muslim company, would you like to know the single most important move that I made in 2025 that's helped me make more money than I ever have before with Allah's permission? Well, it was joining the Live by Design mentorship for CEOs by Coach Fawaz. When I heard that he helps scale the CEO's performance, which ultimately results in the business scaling, I was a bit skeptical. But subhanAllah, this program has transformed my deen, my health, my mental health, my family, my iman, and even my business. Coach Fawaz is now one of the 5 most important people that's impacted me in my life. So if you're a CEO of a decent sized company that's struggling to take his business to the next level, that next zero, that's where Coach Fawaz's Live by Design mentorship comes in. I'll leave the link to the application form below if you're interested. With that said, let's get back into the discussion.
So, okay, if it's a hormone issue, I guess hormone replacement therapy helps.
Yeah, most of the time.
If it's psychological, CBT will help.
Yeah.
What are the other possible?
And hormonally speaking, it's not always specific hormones that you need.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're suffering with low testosterone, I wouldn't recommend people go straight onto TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Don't start just taking huge doses of testosterone because your friend said in the gym that this is going to work. It might work for a very limited amount of time, and oftentimes you'll turn off your natural production, which is what you don't want. Yeah. What I would say is go for something called testosterone optimization therapy, TOT. Okay. So that requires a few other things. Sometimes CBT is included in that. Oftentimes it's things like peptides, where you're stimulating your natural processes to then become optimal, and then they will then do what you're missing.
I want to come to peptides actually later, inshallah. But okay, so basically,
hormones,
TOT or TRT?
TOT first, then TRT if you need it.
Okay. So hormone issue, psychological issue. What else could be another issue?
And then obviously physical.
Okay.
You know, we're talking about reduced blood flow is a big one. Okay. You know, people have no cardio. You know, like people just don't have enough cardio.
You're saying cardio directly correlates with you having a healthy erection?
Directly. It's probably the most direct thing.
Really?
Probably the most direct thing.
So is that the 60-70%?
Yeah, because when you think about it, when you're having an erection, what is happening?
It's blood flow.
It's blood flow. Your penis is filling with blood.
Yeah.
Oftentimes with arterial plaque from smoking, poor diet.
What?
Yeah, arterial plaque. So it's basically
That goes inside
this goes in the areas because
the
you
private
have,
parts.
Yeah, because you have vessels there. You have blood vessels there. You have capillaries there. You know.
So guys who smoke, they got weak erections
Absolutely.
because they've got.
There are studies showing the direct correlation of smokers and erectile dysfunction. Direct studies. We're not talking about we've added this in as a compounding issue. This is definitely direct.
So they've got bad quality blood in there.
Essentially bad quality blood. Yeah. Poor oxygenation, reduced angiogenesis, where blood supply isn't being created. Yeah. Reduced sensitivity.
Okay.
You know, all these things are definite factors. Cardiovascular health is important.
So then break it down. So what does a person do with, because we're going to go into cardiovascular health in a lot more detail later, inshallah, in the context of like just general health. But in the context of fixing erectile dysfunction, what will be the protocol here?
Again, if we identify first of all what is causing,
like assuming it's a cardio issue.
Cardiovascular, I would get them doing cardio. Simple heart rate training.
Well,
I would start with that.
How much daily, weekly?
So generally speaking, my general advice on this is I say to them 20 minutes a day on the Stairmaster, which is slow, low impact cardio. Doesn't affect your joints. Because you've got to bear in mind a lot of people that are struggling with these issues. Older. And do you know why? Because they don't mention it until they're older. It's not because the younger generation aren't struggling with it.
No, I've seen the younger around, man.
Rarely spoken about the younger generation. The older generation is because they finally got to a point where they're sick of it and they want to see what they can do. So you hear about it in the older generation. But in that situation, you've got to think about their back pain. If their cardio is poor, it means they've not been exercising, which means they're not going to be used to exercising. So back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, you've got to take all this into consideration. How intense can they take it? They may have gained loads of weight. All of these issues, they don't know how to exercise. So I make that very simple. 2 things you can try. 1, swimming, best one. If you can swim.
For how long?
On average, it's about 10 Olympic laps a day for about 3 to 4 days a week. That's good.
And how often should you carry this on before you should carry it on for as long as possible, inshallah, but until you start seeing improvement in terms of...
This completely varies from person to person because some people are naturally gifted. They're quite athletic. They'll start working out. 6 weeks later, they've got a 6-pack. Some people, like myself...
No, I'm talking purely in terms of the erection.
That again, it's exactly this.
Okay.
Think of it like another muscle.
Okay.
If you want to, the best way to think of it is think of it literally like another muscle.
Okay.
If I said to you how quickly you're going to grow your biceps, it might take you less time than it'll take me.
Yeah.
It might take me a longer time than it'll take you. There's genetic factors involved. There's diets involved. There's muscle memory from previous exercise levels involved.
But would it be reasonable to say if they did it for 3 months, they should see improvement?
Yeah, like any exercise.
2 months?
If you're doing 2 months, 3 months of consistent exercise, and you're not seeing a difference, then we have to tackle another issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those time limits, I think, are important for people because someone might do it for a month and think, you know what, I've not seen no change.
Actually, a good point you made, actually. Yeah. I see this a lot.
Yeah, because the understanding of what the minimum requirement here is flawed. So a month later and they're not working.
I would say minimum 3 months.
Yeah.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
When you start, do not expect to see a change quickly.
Yeah.
It's an investment. You have to commit consistently for 3 months at least. And I'm not just talking about exercise. If you're exercising and you're eating Big Macs every day, and I'll bake every day, then no.
It's not going to work.
You have to clean your diet up a little bit as well. Arterial plaque is generally from...
So what is arterial plaque?
It's a build-up of essentially metabolic waste within the walls of the artery and veins.
Okay. And that is what goes into the genitals.
No, so what'll happen is as this plaque is building up, so imagine a hose pipe, and on the inside of the hose pipe you're building up dirt.
Yes.
It's building up and it's building up and it's building up, and then that space is getting narrower and narrower.
Yes, correct.
So the blood flow is not going to be as optimal. And then eventually...
Oh, and that's what happens inside the genitals?
Yes, because you have vessels inside there.
So it's like the artery when you person has a heart attack.
Quite literally.
Okay, so the blood that goes and flows through that, the arterial plaque, the metabolic waste gets left
there,
which means it becomes harder to get the actual blood.
Yeah, blood will flow into that area.
And how much you mentioned is a crazy amount, like there's a couple of liters of blood.
There's a lot. On average, we're talking about 750 mils.
750 mils.
Yeah, it's a lot of blood that goes in there because you've got to bear in mind it's a completely flaccid organ. The penis is a completely flaccid organ. Yeah, and it's just essentially tissue. There's no bone structure in there. So to keep it hard and erect for 20 to 30 minutes, you need a lot of blood.
Okay, so now I get it. So then when a person does cardio, that cleans the same way your arteries, if I'm not mistaken, get cleaned, right?
Essentially, yeah.
They get cleaned
and it's not just that.
through cardio.
Yeah, it's not just the cleaning. Because oftentimes it's built up so much that those blood vessels can't be used anymore. So something called angiogenesis, the new development of new blood vessels.
New blood vessels. I understand. So it brings about stronger blood vessels that are able to allow the blood to flow through. And they're also then cleans out the metabolic waste.
Yes.
Which makes it easier for the blood to flow through.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fundamentally, blood's not getting there, bro.
Blood's not getting there.
Okay.
That's fundamentally what it is.
Okay. That's very interesting. So then that's from a cardio perspective. From a psychological perspective, what's happening?
So psychologically, it's like the exact same as you're with your boys in the gym, and normally you can lift that 100 kilo weight off the floor, but now you can't. What's happening psychologically? Your dignity is taking a hit. Inferiority complex. I'm not as good as these other guys.
Right, days when I'm not feeling good, I will struggle to pick up. Like I usually at least 25% less I'm picking up.
Yes,
at least 25%.
The mind to muscle connection is very, very real. Yeah. There have been days where I've gone to the gym. Recent examples. So I'm known for like lifting. I can incline dumbbell press about 65 kilos on each side.
I'm very.
Yeah. So I went to a gym recently and I lifted the 50s. Did a comfortable 10 reps, put them down. Did another 10 reps, put them down. And there were some 60s just sat under the bench. And I didn't want to lift them because I wasn't really in the mood. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to lift these. It's not a day for it. I can do it, but it's not a day for it today. And I just left it. I attempted them the next day when I came in. I attempted them. And I managed a set. Normally I can do 3. And I was like, I can normally do 3 of these. And I was even struggling to get them up. But the day before, I already told myself, I can't do these now. I'm not there. Then I saw the gym owner standing across. And I thought, let me check this. I said, brother, would you mind come spotting me? And he's a big guy. Yeah, he's a big guy, shredded, well known. I said, would you mind come spotting me? And I know now he's spotting me now. So suddenly my mind's changed. I'm like, right, I have to get this up. One way or the other, this weight is coming up. Got it up, 10 comfortable reps. And why were they comfortable? Because I'm having to show that I'm being comfortable doing this.
Makes sense.
I'm not struggling with this weight. Mind over matter, mind-body connection absolutely is there.
Fantastic.
There's no doubt.
Jameel. So then what else are we missing here? There's hormones, there's the psychological element, there's cardio,
Physical,
cardio.
yeah. Physical, essentially.
Physical, sorry.
physical, yeah.
Anything else?
And that's it, really.
Okay.
Essentially, there shouldn't really be much more to this formula.
Okay.
It's a simple formula. You got to bear in mind, humans have been doing it for millions of years.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing.
It's not a new thing, yeah.
It's not a new thing. Oftentimes people talk about sexual health as something new. I said, guys, it's not something new. We have had to do this over millennia to be where we are now. How were me and you born? Yeah? From the old to the young. My grandfather, Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus and fill his grave with light. He died at 104 years of age. He had his last child at 75.
Oh, wow. Allah.
Yeah. This guy was enormously virile, but very healthy, mashallah.
Virile means?
Like sexually strong.
Allah.
He had a very healthy diet, very clean diet, very clean. Always active, always calm. He didn't seem very stressed in life. I mean, I wouldn't be stressed in life at 75. I was, active, but he didn't seem very stressed in life, alhamdulillah, and he died at 104.
Allah.
Quite healthy. He was walking around. He was able to do things. I was surprised. Alhamdulillah. So I said to people, look, we've been doing it for a very long time. The old to the young,
So what about stamina? That's erectile dysfunction.
Stamina. Now
This is premature ejaculation, right?
No, not necessarily. Stamina is 2 ways of looking at it. One, you physically can't carry on. Now, this is a problem. Guys tell me they have started having intercourse and they're out of breath.
Oh, okay.
They're gassed out.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, how are you gassed out? Like, how could you not have the stamina to continue? I mean, on average, so I'll break down for you. Okay, let me ask this question. I asked this on that gathering that we had, and everybody's answer was more or less the same. How long do you think that first round should last?
Like 8-10 minutes.
8-10 minutes. The average people say. That should be minimum half an hour, brother. Minimum half an hour. That's not including your foreplay.
So the act of penetration.
From penetration till you climax, you should be at least 25 minutes, 30 minutes, not a problem.
Okay, but this is, so again, we've had this conversation already, right? And I wanted to discuss it with you here. Like that's shocking news.
So from a physical perspective, when you go for let's take this out for a second, let's analyze another physical concept.
There's times when one can do that, but that to be the average.
So think of right. So when you go to the gym, how long do you work out? Roughly?
An hour.
Okay, so an hour. And that's intense. Yeah? Okay. If you can do that for an hour intensely, you know physically that's your physical capability. In the bedroom, when you're having intercourse, you are burning a lot of calories, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the intensity of it, is it really that high? You're lying down for most of the positions. You're using your legs for a lot of it. You're using larger muscle groups,
Yeah.
like your glutes,
Yeah.
your quadriceps, your hamstrings, sometimes your internal core strength,
Yeah.
Kegels. You're using certain muscle groups that are large, you know, and you're going at your own pace for the most part. No one's kind of forcing you to go harder or faster. So for the most part, you're going at your own pace.
So this is the point, because I remember I spoke to me and Abubakar was speaking about this after. He was like, I'm sure he means like taking like a marathon where it's like,
and it's
starting
interesting.
slow and then speed
It's
up at the
interesting.
end.
Yeah, it's interesting that people see that as a marathon, because that is a gentle jog. It's a 5K.
No, he meant the concept. As in the idea here is that I'm just want to make sure I'm being appropriate here. When
We'll have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the podcast.
you're saying when your speed basically, as in if you're not operating at maximum speed, you should be able to go for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
Comfortably. Yeah,
Okay.
comfortably. Oftentimes, the things that limit people are two things. One, premature ejaculation. This limits a lot of guys.
But then what if, for example, a person becomes excited and he speeds up? And
yes, so this is premature ejaculation, essentially. So there's a way of controlling this as well. Because
Okay.
you got to bear in mind, you got to pleasure your partner as well.
Yeah.
It's not just about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you want to impregnate her, you have to let her. You know, pregnancies are far more common when the woman is pleasured and she has a climax. So a lot of people complain that, oh, I've been trying to have a baby, we're not able to have a child, we're not conceiving. And you talk to the brother for half an hour, you get his story, you talk to the sister, and all she says is I didn't climax. Because that's the first question I'll ask. Did you climax? No. Well, that's going to limit you immediately.
Yeah.
So you brother, need to figure out how to.
How does that limit her?
Yeah. Because it's a natural process. Yeah. When you orgasm, the temperature, the lubrication, the environment of the cervix changes, of the uterus changes. That allows better penetration, deeper penetration, which then allows the sperm to move up further and actually impregnate the egg and actually fertilize the egg.
Okay.
That's something that people miss.
So you're talking about clitoral orgasm or vaginal orgasm?
Vaginal orgasm, proper full orgasm, essentially. So, and again, even these terminal people aren't aware of this. There's different types of orgasms.
Yeah.
You know? So for guys, what they will do is they'll premature ejaculate because they'll speed up, they'll get too excited, they're unable to control their arousal and their sensations. So they need some work on that. There's ways of doing that, you know. And then the other option, or the other issue they'll have is gassing out. Quite literally, they don't have the cardiovascular health to continue, which is far too common nowadays. Far too common, you know.
And you're saying, okay, so that's purely because of a lack of fitness. So the premature ejaculation, where's that coming from?
So again, overstimulation, you know. Usually it's pornography. This is the biggest link we've seen. Premature ejaculation, when we look at the studies and the data, and the scary thing, this data is overwhelming. It's the percentages and the numbers that you look at, you know, that's linked to premature ejaculation is overwhelming. But this is based on data of people that have come forward. Imagine how many people haven't spoken about this.
So this I've been hearing for years, right? A brother actually came to me and he was like, bro, like I don't watch porn and I have this issue.
Okay.
And it can be sometimes demotivating when it's just that's the only thing that's mentioned.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So are there other, like what?
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah,
what are
of
some
course they
other
are.
ways?
I mean, there's things like, you know, so diabetes is one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, peripheral neuropathy. So when you have diabetes, what tends to happen is you start losing sensation in your exterior limbs, hands, feet. People often forget penile desensitization is a thing as well. Yeah. So there are other factors, but they're overwhelming because again, if we start talking about every single individual issue, there's so many.
So what is it about pornography that makes someone have this premature ejaculation issue?
There's two things.
And will the issue remain even after they've stopped?
No, absolutely. Because the brain is brilliant at retraining. The neuroplasticity of the brain is amazing. You can retrain the brain however you want. And this is the beauty of being a Muslim. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, oh, I will forgive all of your sins if you come back to me? Allah says again and again. It's not just a spiritual, this thing is a physical thing. If you got a sinner who is used to masturbation all the time, 2-3 times a day, this is average, you know. Average is 2-3 times a day.
Mad.
It's insane. Yeah. I mean, if someone said to me sexual intercourse 2-3 times a day average, yes, that's okay. You know what the healthy average is for intercourse with your wife?
What is it?
Yeah, and guys, I don't know where the cameras are, but if you're listening with your wives, yeah, don't misquote this. Yeah, this is for with your wife. Yeah, and I'll even explain the science behind with your wife. Why with your wife? Yeah, this isn't applied to like non-committed partners. Yeah, so intercourse should be about 10 times a week on average for good health.
So
for
what's
good
it
health.
based on? Like, where are you based on?
So it's based on cardiovascular health, hormonal release, bonding. There's so many kind of things involved.
Like,
in
are there
this.
studies that mention?
Yeah, the study, absolutely. Yeah. This is not just my uncle's auntie from Pakistan who heard it from her friend said. This is proper clinical trials, and they've looked at the data. So 10 times on average is the average for a healthy relationship. Okay, so when someone's watching porn, what they're doing is I went off a tangent then. So I was talking about the neuroplasticity of the brain. Yeah, so if someone's watching pornography and they're used to this and they're in their late 30s, you would assume that they've got to an age now where pornography has become so habitual to them that even when they stop, there'll be long-term adverse effects, potentially. However, the brain's neuroplasticity is such that that person can absolutely reverse this, completely reverse it, and even reverse the poor impact that's had. So when Allah says to us, come back to me, I'm going to forgive your sins, and I'm going to give you another chance. He's not giving you another chance just because you're going to go back to that sin, because he knows that innately he's created you in a way that you can change those habits. He has programmed and configured your brain, the neuroplasticity of your brain, in a way that he knows, biologically speaking, you've been designed that you can overcome this and come out a better person on the other side.
Very interesting.
Otherwise, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep giving us chances if he knows you're going to keep messing up? If you don't have the ability to change, why is Allah forgiving you?
Wow, it's very deep.
It's there.
So coming back to this point about 10 times a week, right? So, like, for example, I'm a very busy person, right? And I don't think any guy is gonna say no to 10 times a week.
No guys will say that. Some guys will, but go on. Yeah.
The strange ones.
Yeah, the strange ones.
But it's like, as you mentioned, if you're gonna do everything properly with the foreplay and everything, like that becomes a lot of hours.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be like that. Sometimes it's just a release, and it doesn't. And I'm not. And don't get me wrong. A healthy, normal, general intercourse. And how would you picture that? You come home at night, you have your meal, your kids go to sleep, you go upstairs with your missus, bit of romance, and then you get started.
But it's the talking.
It's the talking. Sort of preparing in it.
Yeah, I don't mean that as a bad thing, but so, it's like obviously men, they can just get cracking.
Yeah.
With women, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's a lot more involved for women.
Yeah, and it's like the concept of like the talking and stuff sometimes can be more painful than the pleasure of doing it.
Yeah, it's off-putting.
Because it's like I've got stuff I need to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally speaking, I know exactly the point you're making. Generally speaking, this is how we picture intercourse. It's a bit long, it's a bit involved, takes time. It can be.
Because you can get cracking, but then it's like, then they don't feel.
Yeah, and so it's right. So I always go back to the gym with this. Yeah, there are days when I go to the gym where I have to get my full workout in. Yesterday, the chest session, it was 45 minutes and it's 600 reps. I blasted my chest out. Yeah. This morning, I knew I was coming here. I was busy. I didn't have much time. I had 20 minutes. So I did a bit of shred fast. I YouTube 20-minute shred fast workout and just did it. Yeah. I got the same end product that I needed. I needed a bit of cardiovascular workout. I needed to feel that I worked out, release that dopamine. I got that. But it wasn't the 45-minute chest workout that I did. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you can vary. Absolutely, you should vary. Yeah. What does it require? It requires different types of training. Yeah. If your wife is very involved and she needs the time to prepare and talk to you and cuddle and do all these things, discuss this with her. The first thing you're gonna combat psychologically, discuss this with her. Look, I need to have sex, or I want to have intercourse with you. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere else. I want to have it with you. It's a direct conversation.
Sorry, bro. I'm still a boy when it comes to these topics.
Yeah. No, honestly.
I'm still a boy when it comes to these topics.
Honestly, these are refreshing conversations.
Yeah,
You're very surprised.
No, but when I hear it, I giggle. I can't help.
And directly, I don't want to go to anybody else. I want to be with you. I want, you're my wife. And I expect, this is my needs. Okay? But there'll be times that it'll be quick. Having this frank conversation.
If the woman's not giving that to you, brothers, and she's not, and of course, you're not oppressing her and whatnot, then that's a problematic marriage.
It's red flag, but huge red flag.
It's a problematic marriage, and there's a reason why the angels curse the woman who rejects her man all night.
It's a huge red flag.
A guy who is getting too excited, so he doesn't have those issues, but he just keeps getting too excited. And then, his mind just... This is something that I've spoken with some brothers, and it seems to be also a reoccurring theme. Where it's like, look, I've got stamina, I'm healthy, but I just get excited. How does a person frame that? Because the kind of things that you hear is, you know, someone mentioned once you bite your lip, you like inflict pain to like slow yourself down. People say, imagine something sad.
Yeah, these kind of
But
things.
it's like, you want to be imagining something sad.
Exactly. It's spoiling the moment.
You know what I'm saying?
So if people are kind of premature, essentially what you're talking about, premature ejaculation, you know, they get too excited, the arousal's too much, can't control themselves.
But it's not like a pornography thing.
No, it's because they might be hyper aroused. You know, some people are hypersensitive, it happens.
So how do you
know? So that can request training. It's like anything. You can absolutely train this.
Okay.
So for example, you might be with your wife. You explain to her, and you know, this requires open conversation.
Yeah.
In our community, okay, this is literally Sheikh Zarir, remember he was telling us about this, the traditional model. Yeah. The husband comes home from work, you know, he's tired, he lies down, she's all shy, the lights are closed, you know, 2-3 pumps finished, and he gone to sleep, and she thinks she's done her duties, and that's next 20 years. Yeah. Yeah. That's not how, there's meant to be frank conversations. Yeah. You sit with your wife and say, look, this is an issue I've got, we can deal with it, but this is what we need to do. Typically what I would say is train. So training like let's say for example, you're in the moment, you're thrusting, you're penetrating, and then you feel like arousal is coming. You know what's normally makes you carry on? Is if she's having pleasure and she's saying to you not to stop.
As in that makes the guy want
to speed up.
Yeah.
Because she's telling you that I'm enjoying this. So think about the situation.
You have to pardon me.
No, it's fine.
I'm an academic, but I'm still a boy.
You know exactly. I've had this conversation so many times that I've got accustomed to it now. I've got accustomed to it now.
You know, this conversation is like tickling me. You know, if you tickle someone, you're gonna laugh. This is
It's good. It's better to look at it with levity than it is to look at it with sadness. You know. But honestly, so imagine you're penetrating and it's getting good for you. You're getting close to climax. Yeah. But she's also getting close to climax. Yeah. Now you're thinking to yourself that I can't stop because she's enjoying it too much because now she's going to be disappointed. And she's telling you, don't stop, carry on, this is good. Now you've been searching for this moment for the last half an hour anyway. So now you found the moment. And now you're thinking, right, I can't finish yet. If I finish, I'm done. Yeah. And this is the anxiety you're facing. So oftentimes what it comes to is you and her sitting down and saying, look, if it comes to that point, this is what I need to do so that I can then retrain myself to last longer.
As in slow down.
Yeah. We're going to finish anyway. You will orgasm and I will orgasm. It will happen. But because we're doing a little bit of training, like we're in the gym, we're going to slow it down a little bit. And then there's a term for it, but it's actually gone from my head. There is a term for it, this type of training, where you slow down and you speed up again. You slow down, and then that desensitizes you over time. Now, if you want a quick fix, there are actually products that you can buy. Yeah, it's a spray that you can buy. You spray on, it desensitizes you. If you need a quick fix. And some brothers need that. They are at such a position in their marriage or in their relationship that if they don't get this quick fix, their relationship's over.
Doesn't it take the feeling away? Like you don't enjoy it?
No, completely. You do still, but it desensitizes you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So train it basically.
Train it. There's absolute ways of doing it. You know that people kind of have these myths that you can't. You know, you can train to get bigger. You can train to get faster. You can train to get stronger, harder erections. You can train to last longer. The only thing that I found scientifically you can't train for is girth. To get wider. But to actually get bigger and longer, it's absolutely possible.
How do you train that?
There's devices that you can buy. Like it's like if I said to you, how do you train your biceps?
Temporary?
No, not at all. Like if I said to you, how do you train your arms? How do you train your chest? How do you train your shoulders? It's time, consistent effort. That's it. Okay. And there are ways of doing it.
Okay, interesting. Before we leave the sexual performance topic, I'd be remiss if, on behalf of the audience, if I didn't ask you, because I know everyone's thinking, look, the clitoral orgasm, most people are familiar with it, even though most people don't still understand it very well. The vaginal orgasm. Explain that. How does a person help his wife achieve that? Especially if it's going to help with fertility, because this is a big issue nowadays.
So the big one is correct penetration. Oftentimes, men aren't penetrating correctly, the wrong depth or the wrong angles.
Okay.
So what you want is the hip tilted backwards. Okay, bit of pelvic tilt with the hip backwards.
As in upwards and backwards.
Yeah, so if I was lying on my back now, or if they're lying on their back, the hip goes backwards.
So like placing a pillow underneath the lower back.
Yes, absolutely. This is so people so oftentimes a lot of women don't have the core strength.
I'm asking the question,
to maintain
guys.
That.
I know.
Yeah. Imran, the expert here.
Not the expert. I don't want the brothers thinking, my nose. So my nose.
Put a pillow and it tilts the hip back, and then you've got the correct angle now.
Okay.
Penetration doesn't have to be deep. You know, 2 to 3 inches is more than enough. You know, so that's a big factor as well. And then
is deep problematic? Like, does that?
It can be.
Okay.
It can absolutely be. Yeah. it can definitely be a problem.
No, as in it hinders the vaginal orgasm.
Yeah, it hinders vaginal orgasm, but it causes pain as well.
So then, what's best is 2 to 3 inches.
As in 2 to 3 inches for penetration.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because there's other factors as well. For example, when you're thrusting in and you're thrusting out, there shouldn't be a stoppage in pleasure. So, for example, if your penile length is only like 2 inches or 3 inches, every time you put it in and you take it out, all that'll happen is you'll prevent sensation.
I'm sorry.
But from a sensation point of view, imagine.
You said 2, that threw me off.
Yeah. Bro, this is a problem,
Really?
I only started researching how to properly, like actually scientifically grow the length of your penis after brothers came to me and said, you know what, we feel that our penile length is too small.
And they said it was 2 inches.
2 inches, 3 inches, akhi. Hard. I was shocked.
Being a Muslim entrepreneur who's committed to making hundreds and millions of dollars through his business without compromising his deen, I can tell you this is a very lonely journey. But over the last year, I've realized that I'm not alone. In fact, some of the most sophisticated entrepreneurs are Muslims who fear Allah, and they watch this show. They attend our retreats, and they use their wealth for good. The issue is that they're all scattered. They're all alone. But inshallah, that changes once and for all on September the 6th. Because we're going to be launching our exclusive and powerful circle of Muslims making millions, inshallah ta'ala. If you make millions as an entrepreneur or have at least $10 million in assets through investments, then you qualify to join our waiting list at the link below. P.S. I just want to mention, money isn't the only qualifying factor, but it definitely is the first. So you can register your interest at the link below, inshallah ta'ala, and join the waiting list. With that said, let's get back into the discussion.
But this one brother, I'll give you an example. There's one brother, we did with him. He grew 2 inches in 6 months. An additional 2 inches in 6 months. And sometimes it's not even because... So what happens is the length of your penis is actually more than what you see. Because it tracks back further, deep into your pelvis. So the actual full structure of the penis is quite long. Sometimes you can encourage it to move forward through certain movements and exercises and strengthening. Yeah, so this is what we did. So imagine you're penetrating and you're taking out. What's happening is you're preventing sensation every time it comes out. When it's in and it's constantly rubbing against those areas.
So you, 2 to 3 inches of in and out.
Yes.
2 to 3 inches of thrust.
Of thrust. Within that range.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you want to try and aim for. Okay. And then oftentimes when you are in that position, essentially the female G-spot, which is what's going to cause the big orgasm, which is going to give you the real stimulation. That is just posterior. So what you have to do is it's inside and then up. Yeah. So it's not difficult to find. It's slightly ridged. You can feel it as well. It's there.
Feels like the roof of your...
Yes, that slight ridged feeling. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what you're looking for. And oftentimes when you're in the initial parts and the foreplay, it's a good idea at that time to explore. Yeah. Oftentimes you're both going to be quite handsy. Use your hands to explore, find the areas. Literally ask her, do you like this? You're doing something to her and she's not responding. You maybe want to ask her, is this okay for you?
Her breathing and this, that.
All these things factor in.
100%. So the angle is where the pelvis is tilted backwards.
Yes.
2 to 3 inches.
Yeah.
How long?
It completely varies person to person. This is on the female. Some female, 5-10 minutes. It shouldn't be longer than that.
And they will have a vaginal...
Yeah, they should do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think we've covered all bases here.
Yeah. There's a lot more to cover.
This is
a broad topic. Yeah, there's so many.
We'll do a podcast just on this.
Inshallah,
I actually did one with the Ustad Gabriel Romani on this. I think we'd do a nice three-way discussion.
A nice three-way, wow, okay.
He'll be here.
What kind of things was he bringing up?
We'll talk about erogenous zones
and
stuff like that, and also a lot about foreplay. But I think we'll have a good discussion. Me, you, him, Zarir.
Zarir, wow.
And Abu Bakr will be the 5-man Chama Bai panel. And we'll break down the whole topic. In fact, let me just take a note of this before I forget, because that would be a crazy topic.
I think we'll blow up that.
Yeah.
We'll blow up the internet.
Zarir. Sorry, 1 second. Zarir, Imran, me, Abu Bakr.
You know what's interesting with this topic is I think before we do it, we should speak to or try and get some data from some sisters.
Yeah.
What their issues are, what they struggle with.
And answer those questions.
Good.
Great. I like that. طيب, let's move on now. I want to talk a bit about pain, right? So you're obviously, mashallah tabarakallah, a physio, Allahumma barik, and in terms of like deep tissue massage, stretching, and even like spinal manipulation, chiropractic stuff, Allahumma barik, the best that I've seen.
Alhamdulillah.
Right, the best that I've seen. I've had back issues for a very long time, right? Lower back, upper back, neck, just moves around. What causes this? But before we go into that, even actually, a deeper question is: how important is taking care of your body in this way, and primarily your back, right? How important is it, and what could be the detriments if a person doesn't take this seriously? Because entrepreneurs, as I am, sit at our desk for multiple hours a day working. Students of knowledge, as inshallah I am also, sit at our desk or in classes for multiple hours a day reading. And we tend to be guys, the ones that are suffering from the stuff the most, right?
Yeah.
So how do we manage this?
So I mean, there's multiple ways. You have to first of all kind of figure out what's causing it. I'm big on diagnosis.
Okay.
As a therapist, one of the things that makes me effective is I focus on the diagnosis massively.
Okay.
Even let's say I create a treatment plan for you. You say I've got back pain. I think it's this. We'll start the treatment plan. I usually outline right from the onset that during this process we may have to re-diagnose. If the treatment isn't working, we will go back to the drawing board. We will re-diagnose, and then we'll continue. So oftentimes the treatment is part of the diagnosis as well. So you have to diagnose what is causing the issue. Typically, the majority of the cases that I see, and the data does suggest this because of just quite sedentary lifestyle, is lower back pain, which seems to be the most common thing, is due to weak internal core muscles. So everyone kind of thinks about core muscles as your abs, your six packs, your obliques, that blade that you get here, the hyper bodybuilders.
Action man blade.
Yeah, that's crazy, So you see that you think that's a solid core. Yes, to a certain extent. You have a secondary set of core muscles whose main purpose, the main job of that core muscle is to stabilize your lower back. And these are usually turned off completely.
Okay.
Most people don't use them. They've never come across a situation where they need them. Now, when you're sat at your desk for very long periods of time, what you're then doing is you're causing certain muscle groups to contract and other muscle groups to lengthen. So the balance is off now. The balance is off. Human beings weren't designed to sit for very long.
Yeah.
We're designed to move.
Designed to move, yeah.
Everything about us.
Even this position in which we sit in is not natural, right?
It's not natural.
Because we would sit on the floor, we would squat, we would...
Squatting position is our most natural position to be in.
Why is that?
It's the biomechanics of it. Yeah, the way your hip drops, spine straightens, you don't get contractions in your hips in the same way as you would sit in this position.
Squatting with your heels on the floor or not?
Yes, if you can, with the heels on the floor. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ used to sit in a squat position when eating.
I took this many years ago, but that was one of his eating positions. Yeah.
So it makes you wonder why.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Why would you sit in that position when doing that? It begs the question. It's not according to our the way we live now.
Yeah.
According to society now, that would be considered a very odd position to sit in. Yeah. And it's primarily because it's healthy. It's the best position to be in. It opens up your diaphragm, even for breathing.
Oh wow.
So when you breathe, people don't breathe the diaphragm. What they do is they breathe with I suppose upper chest muscles more than anything. What your diaphragm is a muscle that sits above your abdomen, and it separates your abdomen from your lung cavity, your chest cavity. Okay, so when you breathe in, what should be happening? Think of like a balloon mechanism. You're breathing in, your diaphragm should naturally move down to create more space for air in your lungs. What we do is when we breathe, we're pulling the diaphragm up. We're creating less space to breathe.
So how do you breathe properly?
So you train yourself. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. Sorry, I shouldn't move this, should I really? They taught this is actually Physio 101. This is Physio 101.
Okay.
So what I tell people is put your hands on your stomach like this, and then you're going to start with an exhale, a breath out, not in, okay? And whilst you're breathing out, you're going to be thinking, how do I suck my stomach in and cause it to push more air out, okay? That's it. So in your mind, you're thinking, pull my stomach in and push it up, so I'm expelling more air. So you're starting with a breathe out, okay? So it's and then you're going to breathe in. And whilst you're breathing in, that space that you've pushed out, is going to fill up, and naturally your stomach will push out. Okay? So breathing in, stomach goes out. Breathing out, stomach goes in. So if you look at my hands, I always get people to visualize this. Look at my hands, and your hands should be moving in the same way. So when I breathe out,
Okay, I'm going to practice that. But
controlling your diaphragm.
I feel it, yeah.
Yeah?
Very powerful. And this breathing is very, very it's very deep, man. Like it really it calms you down, relaxes you, and
Takes you back to the basics.
And even sometimes, like, you don't realize you just feel this tightness in your chest because of work and stress of life, and you just habituate to it. When you just take out time to breathe, just the relaxation that you feel is incredible.
Yeah. You stimulate a vagus nerve, you stimulate a phrenic nerve, and straight away, it's not even like, before we used to think of this as a very spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Meditation and muraqabah, and people are thinking, oh, this is meditation. There is an element of that.
What is meditation? Because I just think it's a Buddhist Hindu thing.
No, not at all. It's muraqabah, essentially. It's
What is it?
reflection. It's self-reflection. You're sitting and you're...
Because when someone says meditate for 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
what is that?
When we pray salah,
Yeah.
that is meditation.
I don't understand that when people say that to me. I don't get that. Like, explain to me, what is meditation?
Okay, so it's literally shutting yourself off from the world.
Okay.
Yeah, all external stimuli should be ignored because you can't shut them off completely. Like if someone pokes you, you're going to feel it. But how much can you ignore that stimuli? You're hearing noise in the background. You can still hear the noise.
Yeah.
But how much can you turn off the stimuli and ignore it? There's the famous story of, was it Ali anhu, when he had the arrow stuck in him and they couldn't pull the arrow from him.
Yeah, in his leg,
then,
in his shin.
It was in his leg. It was in his
He said,
thigh.
take it out when I'm in salah.
Yeah, when he's in salah. So imagine he's in such deep reflection in salah that he's meditating so deeply that the external stimuli, the pain of pulling that arrow out, hasn't affected him.
So meditation means to
Switch
cut off and switch off from the external stimuli.
That's it.
And what do you focus on then?
So there's many things you can focus on. So there's a concept called DMN, the default mode network. Okay, the brain has this built in. So what happens is you can activate this. You go into reflection and try and think of 3 things. Yeah, and this is not spiritual in terms of, I'm not getting this from spiritual books or religious books. This is something that we learn from neuroscience. Okay, the default mode network. Okay, or the other way of looking at it is the daydreaming network. So me. These are 3 things you concentrate on. Okay, so your first me is yourself. Okay, you reflect on what is stimulating you, what is not stimulating you. So for example, if I'm sat there, I'm thinking, okay, I'm hearing certain external noises. I'm gonna try and switch them out. I'm gonna focus on my internal voice. Okay, it feels a bit cold. Think of the warmth internally, the warmth of my blood. You know what? There's a guy called Wim Hof. I don't know if you've come across him.
Yeah, the Iceman.
This guy sits in ice, for hours on end. How is he not getting hypothermia? It's a biological question. This is a physical question. Like, this is science. How is he not getting hypothermia? Any other person would. He's clearly activating something within himself to keep himself warm, or he would just freeze. It doesn't need much. It doesn't need a lot of thinking. He's doing something internally that's keeping him warm. Okay, so these are the things that you're doing. You're combating those external stimuli. That's the first M, me. Okay, then memories. You're then reflecting on the things that you've been through and the things that have not traumatized you, but that shaped you. That's a big, deep part of reflecting. And I think we do this as Muslims as well. I can't remember which scholar it was. He would write down what he'd say through the day, and at the end of the day, he would open the book and reflect. Was this worth me saying? Should I have said this? There's a saying, I think it's a Turkish proverb, that only say something if it's more important than your silence. Only say something if it's more important than your silence.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, then let him speak good or remain silent.
There you go.
So as in, don't talk if you don't have anything good to say.
Subhanallah. So and absolutely, So that's the second me. Your memories. You're reflecting.
Okay.
Reflect on what you've done, how they've shaped you. What they mean for you. Very important. And the next part of the me is your surroundings, essentially. Okay, so you're thinking about things around you. Reflect on what's around you and where you've placed yourself. The groups that you're with, the environment that you're with. Essentially, your mahol, your environment, for the most part. So these are what you're thinking of your DMN. Okay?
So how does this help me though?
So this is the second part. So the default mode network, what this does is it helps you meditate, helps you calm your mind, and it brings you to a center internally. So oftentimes people's biggest issue is they're uncentered. They're walking around doing things not knowing why they're doing them. Yeah. Or they are turbulent, chaotic. They're going from one place to another, one appointment to another, one meeting to another, and there's no peace in their life. Even at the end of the day, they're getting home, they're going through emails, they try and sort their paperwork out, they're getting ready for the next day of chaos. So one day of chaos leading to the next day of chaos, leading to the next day of chaos. It's almost an organized mess. Yeah? Or an organized mess. What you need to do is take a few minutes. Now, Salah is a perfect time to do this because all of them apply in Salah. Yeah? You're thinking about, but even some of the du'as that we make in Salah are reflective. Allahumma inni a'udhu bi. At the end, when you're that's the last dua you pray. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi dhulman kathir. You're reflecting on yourself. Wala yaghfir dhunub. You're reflecting on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That nobody else can forgive me. It's a reflective. Allah, you aren't literally in a position where you are stood in front of Allah. Metaphorically you are, and you are discussing and reflecting this. So even when you're in Salah, all these things apply. Yeah? You're reflecting on all these things. When we say Allahu Akbar, when we lift our hands, one of my teachers was teaching me, why this action? Why this specific action? Because what you're indicating is symbolizing that the world is now behind me. I've left the world.
Yeah.
And when you finish the Salah, you do Salam. I've returned. Yeah. So these things are very much part of it. And we're prescribed to do this 5 times a day. I call it a prescription. It's vital to us.
Is there another way to refer to it other than meditation? That word.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd say reflection.
Reflection,
probably, yeah. Because it's a much more encompassing term.
So I have noticed in myself, because of the Live by Design program I do with Fawaz,
yes,
he's very big on this whole reflection thing. And it's actually amazing. Like even Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he said, التفكر لساعة أفضل من قيام ليلة. He said to ponder and reflect for an hour is better than praying Qiyamul Layl.
Subhanallah.
So
at university the teachers reflect.
Yeah.
They force you. This was the part of university that I didn't detest, but I felt at the time, I was a new student, I was young, I felt it was the least useful part of my course. After every module, every placement, every extensive session, they would make you write a reflection. Write a reflection. And the point of this, it created critical thinking. It taught you to be a better critical thinker.
So the thing is, prior to this thing with Fawaz, I used to not think, to be honest. Very hasty person. I used to package hastiness as just extreme productivity.
Yes.
But actuality, and being quiet and thinking about things would seem like productivity death to me. But now, to be honest, just sitting there and thinking is one of the most joyful things I do in my day. To sit there and think about the blessings of Allah, to sit there and think about what do I actually have to do today. I actually love my thoughts.
Subhanallah.
Yes, I love it's weird. I often sit there and I get sad that I can't be with myself. As in when I have to go and do something and I can't sit there thinking, I feel like I'm losing. I'm leaving a loved one, and it's weird because so many people spend so much time trying to drown out the inner sound through social media and all these other things. They don't realize that there's actually so many wonders in here. Like throughout my life, I've been absorbing so much, right? I've got so many experiences from my personal life to deen, to da'wah, through my education, studying, business. And this creates a wonderful tapestry, right? And that tapestry has got so much depth, so much meaning, so many lessons, so powerful. When you sit there and you just think, yo, what's inside there? You pull out gems, man.
SubhanAllah.
Pull out gems. You get to realize, wait, you get to self-assess yourself and realize mistakes that you're making, how to fix them, problems with others, problems in your business, problems in terms of your deen. And it's just lovely to just spend time with yourself. I'm an extreme extrovert who has, in his recent years, begun to love his company more than... Like, if you put me in a crowd, I'll still be the extrovert. You could
do it,
But I just want to be alone, man.
SubhanAllah.
And I feel like there's so much power in just...
I'm literally the opposite.
Really?
I almost bordering on, and this is, I shouldn't really say this, I think, but I almost border on hating myself to a certain extent. You know, I'm on a continuous path of redemption, I feel, because of my past, etc. But I really don't like my own company. It's why I gravitate towards books, because books and reading are somebody else's company.
So when you're in your own company, what happens?
I read.
Not as in if you
What
don't
happens?
read.
It becomes very dark.
For example?
I have a. So oftentimes I return to a lot of memories. I have severe PTSD. I can't sleep. I sleep maybe 3 hours a night. And a lot of the studies that I've done was to manage myself. A lot of the learning that I've achieved, alhamdulillah, was trying to fix myself.
You still sleep 3 hours?
Yeah, usually 3 hours. If I'm lucky.
That's bad,
If I'm
though,
lucky.
right?
Yes,
That's
it's very bad for you. It's very unhealthy, you know. My blood markers, my physiological markers aren't great because of my sleep primarily. You know, and I've tried many different techniques to help it.
What's caused the PTSD?
It's through my previous work in the military and things that I did. A lot of that, you know. The military, what it does is it creates a person. It'll take you, it will completely break you down, and then it'll create this new person out of you, you know. And this person, what they'll do, they'll force you to be proud of this person, to love this person, and to think that this is the best thing ever, you know.
And what is that person doing?
Whatever they want. Pavlovian training. Yeah.
No, as in what? As in, I'm like, what are the things that have triggered this PTSD?
You know, I've been to war a few times now. I've been to Iraq twice, Afghanistan, and I saw things. I was involved in things, you know, even being part of a military force like that, and then at the end finding out this was all war crimes, this was all devious, this was all evil, literal words of evil. Like, you know, I'll give you an example. Iraq, 1 million civilian casualties, akhi. 1 million civilian casualties in our lifetime. We're not talking 100 years ago. We're not talking World War II, World War III, all of that. We're talking in our lifetimes. So how do you deal with that? You were part of a force that was responsible for that, and nobody answered for that. Because, you know, oftentimes, you know why we have punishments in this world? It's so that you don't have to answer for it afterwards. The reason you're punished in this world is so you don't answer for it in the hereafter.
Yeah.
What do you do when there is no answer to give? That there's no one going to punish you. You've got to run away with it in this world. What happens? You have to answer for these things. If there is no way for you to redeem yourself in this world, you will be redeemed in the hereafter. And you'd rather have it in this world. Without a doubt. So they are dark thoughts, akhi. They sit with me. And we're not talking about like punching someone in the face or swearing at someone. You know, there are certain things that you do in life that change you as a person. And that's it. It's done. You know, arrows can leave and they never come back. You know, so that caused huge amounts of trauma in my own mind. And I've been through therapy for it. And I recommend, you know, I always say to brothers, look, therapy is something people fear. They think it's, you know, it's taboo. I'm too strong for therapy. It'll make me feel weak. No. If you think you need therapy, go to a good therapist.
What is therapy?
It's essentially talking. Okay, if I'm, you know, opening up. First part of therapy is always opening up. Putting your problems on the table. These are the issues that I've got. Because that's what people don't do. No one will tell you. No one will sit there. Okay. What I'm telling you now, no one will sit there and say to you, I've got these issues. It'll all bottle up inside. What will people think? Yeah. What will society think of me? Yeah. So your first thing is letting it all out. And then organizing it and fixing it one by one. It's simply as simple as that. You know, physical therapy is no different to mental therapy in that sense. What do you do when you come to me? I assess you, I figure out your issues, and then one by one I fix them. I tell you the time scale, I tell you the prognosis, and we fix them. And hopefully, with the right methodology, you feel better, alhamdulillah. Same with therapy, as in mental therapy. We figure out the problems, the triggers, the problems, and then we give you the diagnosis. You know, so for me, it was very much that. But sorry, we went off a tangent then. What were we?
No, Barakallah, we were talking about how essentially meditation and reflection.
Yes.
And
so I'm one of these that I don't like my own company for the most part. So I'm very jealous of you in that sense, mashallah. And it's, you know, what you're saying here is very difficult to achieve. You get some brothers and some sisters who are introverts by nature. But that doesn't mean they like their own company. That doesn't mean they're very happy sitting down on their own. Oftentimes they crave
to be the other
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're someone who can blend well in a public environment, socializing, you know, speaking, and then be able to revert back to enjoying your own company, that is a blessed place to be.
Yeah, I shouldn't be alone.
You know, blessed place to be. SubhanAllah, it's a blessed place to be, honestly. You know, and oftentimes it don't happen when you're alone. You find the worst parts of yourself and you encourage yourself to fix those things.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Because you can't do that otherwise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Learning to be honest with yourself is hard.
Big time.
Learning to be honest with yourself is hard.
You know, this year has been a year of self-honesty for me.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, it's been a massive year of self-honesty. Massive year. It's been, every year is like a theme. This year, like I had to admit to myself I'm a coward deep down.
SubhanAllah.
Which has now allowed me to become braver than I've ever been in my life.
Allahu Akbar.
So I've been between cowardice and recklessness my whole life. People think that the opposite of cowardice is bravery. It's not. It's recklessness.
Okay, let me tell you a secret. I have access to some of the greatest Muslim entrepreneurs and investors in the world that are alive today. And I've been thinking long and hard about how to give you a personalized experience with them. Finally, my team, alhamdulillah, has come up with a solution. Starting from today, every week, you will get your questions on scaling your business and halal investments answered by the best Muslim entrepreneurs and investors, inshallah ta'ala. Think of it like a podcast straight to your email inbox. Each email will give you simple but powerful insights on how to make more halal money. If you're interested, just subscribe at the link below, inshallah ta'ala. It's free.
I could be a coward and then get angry and you think I'm brave and I do the... No. I've lost control. Right? I've lost control. That's not bravery. Bravery is to be in control and to handle fear. And by the way, when I'm talking about fears, I'm not talking about fear of being like, attacked by a person. I'm talking about fears of like upsetting people. Like I've been a coward on that level. Like, I'm just scared to tell people the truth.
Becoming a yes man, essentially.
I wouldn't say there's definitely been parts of that in my life, but not a yes man, but more so just, like sacrificing my happiness, my progress, my family's happiness, my family's progress, because I don't want to hurt the other person's feelings by saying no. Maybe it's yes man. But coming back to what we were talking about though, so exercise, so entrepreneurs, students, knowledge, other people day to day, mums. We have sisters that watch as well. Very sedentary lifestyles. Fundamentally explain to us, like, what are the pillars of physical fitness?
First thing I'll say is mums. This Imran didn't say that. The Imran said it's sedentary lifestyle. I know how busy mums are, yeah. So
okay, look, so they're busy, right? But fundamentally, their heart rate's not pumping, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not busy in the sense that they are rigorously active.
Yeah, but that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
because I often I now, right now, alhamdulillah, I don't look terribly unhealthy, right? But I know my lifestyle hasn't been the healthiest in recent times because of my age and where I'm at right now. I'm starting to see the importance of this. So me and my wife have this conversation regularly. Like, look, we need to start completely shifting things now. So my wife often mentions I'm very active because she's always running around with the kid. And I'm like, yeah, you are. But there's a difference between that and muscle fatigue and that and getting your heart rate up.
Yeah.
So am I correct in saying that, or am I misinformed?
Yes,
here?
you are. And yes and no. Yes and no. It goes back to something called the mind-muscle connection.
Okay.
Yeah. So they actually did a study on cleaning companies.
Okay.
And what they did was they set up one set of cleaning companies. They looked at all the biometrics, the biological measures, heart rate, muscle density. They measured. They actually did fat testing, as in fat caliper testing, to see how much fat percentage somebody had, heart rate, blood pressure, cardiovascular fitness. They did all these kind of metrics to measure before they ran this study. And what they did was this cleaning company said to one set that, look, when you are working in the hotel and you're cleaning the rooms, we want you to actively think that you are exercising.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So when you're doing this and when you're doing this, these are movements.
Very
you need to be thinking when you're going up them stairs, when you're pushing them trolleys, you need when you're carrying those, you'd actively think to yourself, this is an exercise, and then even try and write down the sets that you've done.
Okay.
Yeah, so I changed 10 beds today. So I did this 10 times. How much the duvet weighed 5 kilos. So I lifted 5 kilos 60 times today.
Very interesting.
So you're going to write all this down, you're going to document it, and this is going to be you guys, yeah? The next set, just carry on as per normal. Yeah? Came back 6 months later, all the metrics from these people that I've been told to physically think about it had changed and increased and progressed.
Really?
There had actually been some injuries as well.
They had injuries?
Some of them had injuries. Because... and they weren't doing anything different.
Hotel cleaners.
Hotel cleaners.
This is a very interesting study.
And they didn't. And the funny thing was, it wasn't a case of they got injuries because they were trying too hard. They just switched off the function of thinking that this is just work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other group?
No changes. Just general. Everything was the same.
But they did the same level of physical work.
Everything was the same, apart from the fact that the thought process was for these guys that this is also exercise and we have to document it. And for these guys, we're going to go back home and chill.
Was it just the fact that they had to think, or thinking that it's exercise with documentation?
Yes, the documentation reinforced the thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if a person didn't document and was able to reinforce it through another
you
method?
could do. You could do,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. So
Yeah.
the key thing is thinking.
Yeah. So this is a very good example. And there's so many examples of this. There's not like an isolated incident. This happens all the time. Yeah. So now apply that to the household. Yeah. If you've got, let's say, 3 kids, how often are you standing up with the kids? How often are you going to the kitchen? How often are you hoovering? How often are you cleaning, changing, washing, wiping? All those things factored in. Now, yes, it's not going to be the same as, going to the gym for an hour and working out in the gym for an hour. But I challenge brothers all the time. I think I've challenged you on this as well. We'll do a session together in the gym. And you'll see the difference between sessions that you've been doing and what you think is a good workout to what is a good workout. You know what tells me? There's a concept called Shred Fast. It's like a exercise program in Dubai. I'll go in this class like once a week. It's very tough, very, very tough. It really sets the bar for me in what I can do exercise-wise in an hour, 45 minutes. And then what I try and do is before I leave the gym, when I'm doing my own workouts, I try and get that same feeling at that level, that I've hit that kind of bar.
What is Shred Fast? What is it?
The kettlebell workout.
Okay.
It's very intense. Very intense kettlebell circuit. Nothing complicated, but it kills you. Absolutely just destroys your body. You feel great afterwards because you know you've worked out. There's no doubt left in your mind that you've left it all on them mats. There's no doubt. So when you're in the gym, oftentimes we think we're working out or we think, I had a good session, but have you? Maybe you had another 30 reps in you. Before you got to in complete fatigue. Your fatigue is in your mind. You're telling your body, I'm done, and you stop. Yeah? So when you're talking about women working at home and these kind of things, one is psychological change. When you're doing those things at home, tell yourself, are you doing it with the muscle-mind connection? Do you think of it as exercise, as physical activity? Hoovering, bro, have you ever hoovered for 10 minutes and think of it as an arm workout? Your arm will be on fire. Try it when you get home.
We've got to swap arms then, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to swap arms. Try it when you get home, guys. Take the Hoover one day. Your wives might be shocked. Your wife will be like, what's happened? You listen to this podcast, what happened, guys? Yeah. Take the Hoover. Think to yourself, I'm going to be doing reps. Yeah. 20 reps in, your arms are going to be burning. You're not even in half the room. Yeah. 30 reps in, you're thinking about going to the next room. 40 reps, you've just about finished this room.
What is it about the fact that just merely reflecting results in you actually having...
And this is an area that's a lot of research happening in this area. It's from hormone release to even blood flow that changes. So your phrenic nerve will stimulate certain hormones that will increase blood flow to the arms.
Is it also possible that maybe you're contracting your muscle more now that you're thinking it's an exercise?
Not at all. Not even necessarily.
Very interesting.
Because you need the same amount of contraction. The Hoover weighs the same. The Hoover, if it weighs 10 kilos, it weighs 10 kilos. If it requires 10 newtons of force to move it, it requires 10 newtons of force to move it. You contracting harder or softer isn't going to move the faster.
Sense.
So yeah, the Hoover's the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say to people, think of it psychologically. How do you bring this in? And secondly, you have to think of it, look, what is an environment of working out? I typically say for females, working out in the gym isn't the environment for you. It just isn't. Especially a mixed gym, just is definitely a no-no.
No, it's haram.
It's haram completely. But I mean, without sounding bad, putting it aside, what are the other factors that you look at? We have something called pheromones. Yeah, and this is something that people are looking at.
Smell that comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this is something that we are looking at right now.
Yeah.
So you know why we're studying this? Because there's been so many cases of women calling out men. Why are you staring at me at the gym? I'm trying to make my video. Why are you coming in my video? Oh, I can see my video is staring at my backside. Why are you staring at my breasts? Why are you staring at me when I'm working out? So there's been many occasions where men have been accused of this. So they've actually started looking into this, like, what is going on here? Like, it's almost like an epidemic. These women are just complaining of men constantly perving on them, for want of a better word. Okay. So what is happening is actually happening. And when we observe these situations, yeah, it is happening. But what do you expect men who are testosterone fueled, working out in the gym, physically laboring, heart rates are up, yeah, and they're all competing with each other to look bigger and stronger. What do you expect them to be doing in an environment where you've got women in skimpy clothes working out? What do you think is going to... Common sense, what do you think is going to happen? If I leave £1 million on this table and walk away, and I say, invite some thieves to come in, what do you think they're going to do? It's a natural thing. So what causes this? A lot of it's pheromones. Yeah? You release pheromones, which attract the opposite male, the opposite sex. And these pheromones also have a chemical impact in the brain, in the way your heart rates are moving, in the way your dopamine changes, in the way you suddenly start looking for oxytocin.
So pheromone is a smell?
It's a smell. It's like a hormone that you release
Okay.
into the air. And it's picked up by the opposite gender.
Okay.
And it causes them to become sexually aroused as well. Okay? So
Okay.
this was happening. This is literally what's happening. Yeah? It's full of it.
You're saying when the woman is exercising, she's releasing pheromones?
No, in that mixed environment.
In the mixed
in the
environment.
gym, in the mix, this is what's happening. So this is why I say, putting aside the fact that it's haram, what else, why is it bad for a woman to go to a mixed gym? This is primarily the reason.
Pheromones are being released.
And then a lot of women will say, oh, well, I'm not doing anything. It's them. It's not my fault they're looking at me. I'm going at it because I'm just doing my training.
So she's training, releasing pheromones,
yeah.
which the guys are picking
Attracted
up, and that naturally makes them feel attracted. As
Yeah.
in, so, okay, does that work as like a signal?
The signal. It's quite literally a signal.
That this woman, she wants me.
She wants me. It's a neurotransmitter.
She wants me.
She wants me. That's literally the signal.
mad. So look at that, yeah. That's why you should avoid filthy environments, man.
Okay, this is not me, like, this is not pseudoscience. It's not bro science. This is documented clinical trials and studies and evidence-based science. This.
Even I heard, I don't know if it's connected, but like if someone is like generally quite a stressy person and they always like have high cortisol and you're around them and like you can smell it off them.
Yes.
And it impacts you and makes you stressed.
It increases your cortisol levels.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Negative people?
Yeah,
Stay away
absolutely,
from
bro.
them.
Negative
Stay
people,
away
absolutely.
from them.
You know, misery loves company, akhi. There's never been truer. You know, your cortisol levels directly impact their cortisol, which then increases it all. You know, it's a scary. And you know, I've been in that situation. Wallahi, a couple of years ago, and you know what? Allah bless my wife and give her a long, healthy life and give her Jannatul Firdaus. She is an amazing woman in what she did for me and what she made me realize. She was somebody that always kept me grounded. Yeah, I ended up in a situation where I ended up with the second wife, and it was a sad situation where I realized how valuable my first marriage was due to the second things I was seeing. Right from toxicity. I mean, when we talk about cortisol levels being high, they were insanely high. I'd never been more unhealthier.
Really?
I'd never been more unhealthier. I'd never been so disengaged in my work to the point where I was going to leave this field completely. Wallahi, akhi, I had applied for a job at Asda. And we're talking just a few years ago. We're not talking like, you know, I was peaking in terms of my studies and opening a new clinic and these kind of things. And this is the environment that I ended myself into. All based on what?
Crazy woman.
Crazy woman.
Cortisol.
Pheromones, cortisols, you know, hormonal imbalances, you name it, it was all there.
Crazy.
You know, it was ajib. And it really, really made me, and I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me in that environment to really make me appreciate the blessings He'd already given me.
MashaAllah.
You know,
Allah
because you don't appreciate the blessings you have until they're gone.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think this was a wake up call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I thank Him every day for it.
MashaAllah.
You know,
very good.
So cortisol levels being high is a problem. Sorry, going back to this working out, sorry.
Yeah.
So at home, what do you do then? Okay, so you know the husband's going to the gym or able to work out externally outside. What do you do as a woman? You know what? The funny thing is, we're living in an era now where we've just had the entire world doing home workouts for 2 years. So the excuse is gone now. When women say I can't work out at home, the excuse is completely gone. We had 2 years of COVID, and what happened? Everybody worked out at home. Yeah, right from what was that guy called? The PT guy, the PE guy.
PE guy.
You know about the what's his name? His famous.
The
guy.
nation's PE teacher.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
His name as well.
Sorry, guys. I wasn't really that into PE as a kid. But anyway, he became massive because he created all these home workouts. I mean, before that, there was many home workouts anyway. So, and it showed that you can stay healthy, you can stay fit, you can be maintained, you can become stronger and fitter by doing home workouts. No problem. So that's no longer an excuse. Work out at home, absolutely possible. But why though? Why? What's your motivating factor?
Yeah.
What's your motivating? Why are you working out? What's your motivating factor?
So
you said you spoke to your missus. What's your motivating factor?
So my motivating factor is a podcast I actually watched a year ago where the host was he's a longevity specialist.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like how would you describe that for people who don't know?
So longevity is anti-aging, really, isn't it?
Anti-aging.
I don't want to get older. Simple as.
Or to like increase, you know, to decrease likelihood of death.
Okay.
Right. And he was mentioning, look, fundamentally there are two things, bro. When you're old, of course you die quick, of course in Allah's hands, and that's having a low VO2 max and little muscle mass.
Yes.
He said if
Density.
you have little muscle mass and your VO2 max is low, if you take a fall, there's like a 45% chance that you'll die in the next 6 months or something like crazy like that. So he fundamentally broke it down. He's like, bro, you need muscle and you need cardio. And these things will allow you to be healthy as you grow older. So that was a motivation. You often hear people talking about, oh, we can live to be 120, 110, 190. That doesn't excite me. The concept of like living for many, many years. What excites me is the concept of just being old and not being immobile.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my motivation.
That's a scary thing,
Yeah.
I at the early part of my career, I worked in the hospital. So as a band 5 physiotherapist. So anyone that wants to go into the physiotherapy career, as glamorous as it looks, and sometimes it looks so glamorous. I'm going to work with footballers. And alhamdulillah, I've worked with some pretty high level athletes.
UFC fighters,
Islam Makhachev, Bilal Muhammad. We work with Beterbiev. We work with some really nice, high level athletes. Even now we're working with them. So it can be glamorous, but for the first few years, it's hard work, and they make you do the low level work. So I was working in the hospital in the geriatric wards, the old people, and it was scary.
Okay.
And when I say geriatric, I'm not talking about 80s and 90s. I'm talking your 65, 70-year-olds who cannot physically get out of bed. My job was to assist them to get out of bed.
Oof.
Literally wearing adult nappies. It was scary. Couldn't feed themselves. The quality of life was very poor. Very poor. And most of it was self-inflicted. Most of it was self-inflicted. Poor dietary choices, poor lifestyle choices. Simple as that. You don't see many elderly people who have made good choices in life, healthy, fit, as in lifestyle choices, being unwell. My grandfather's a good example. 104, still walking around. No real comorbidities. They struggled to diagnose him. They were kind of always making stuff up at the end. Like, we think he maybe has this condition. He has heart issues. What heart issues? Well, we're going to put him on this medication. Why? Well, he's getting quite old. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong. You've just checked his blood pressure's fine. His heart rate's fine. Just in case. Literally got to this point. They were just shocked. But, I mean, he's an exception. But generally speaking, elderly people, as they get older, if they make the right lifestyle choices, they could absolutely have a good quality of life. And the beautiful part of this is there's never too late to change. I've seen some insanely strong, healthy, fit athletes who are in their 60s and 70s. And they started late in life.
Wow.
So it's not something that we can't change. So when we look at it from that perspective, quality of life that you mentioned there is very important. Very, very important. Not everybody's going to have this, by the way. This is a not unique perspective.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm just starting to peak in terms of what I'm doing in life. Like I'm just starting to peak in terms of my understanding of the world, the intelligence that Allah has given me, where I'm at in terms of entrepreneurship, what I'm doing in terms of what our da'wah projects. And I'm so terrified of the fact that like my body's going to start declining now. And I'm not going to be able to just carry this on. That isn't in my young years, when I had all the strength and energy, I didn't have this level of competence. Now that I've got the competence, I want to do stuff with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to be, may Allah, that's why we make that dua every morning, every evening. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-kasal wa su'il kibar. We seek refuge with Allah from laziness and old age, su'il kibar, old age where you're basically just immobile.
Yeah.
You want to be able to do stuff.
It hits your dignity hard,
Yeah.
It hits your dignity. One of the things that people don't realize, it's not just about the physical incapacity, being incapacitated physically. It affects your dignity in a big way. Like some of these people, I met them and they were heavily depressed. And it was because they had no dignity left. When someone has to wipe your backside and you're only 65 years old and there's nothing you can do about it, it's high.
And the crazy thing is, it just happens overnight, isn't it? Like the same way there's positive compounding, there's negative compounding. The thing is, people's brains are not wired to understand compounding. But if you keep doubling, like number 2, you'll be in the billions after just a few doubles.
Yeah.
Right? Like after like 20, 30 doubles, you're in the billions now. Yeah. That's crazy, bro. You think of just by doubling.
Yeah.
Start with 2, you just keep doubling. So likewise, negatively also compounds.
Yeah.
Right? You keep minusing 2, you keep doubling -2, you'll get into the minus billions as well. So if you are not taking care of your health, it's not just like I'm negatively just impacting my health. It's compounding, right? And before you know it, suddenly heart attack.
Yeah.
It just comes.
Yeah, it just comes.
May Allah protect us.
I mean, my late father, good example. I mean, he died. He was 52, I think. No, 54 he was. He was very young. He wasn't old. But this was the issue that he had. It kept compounding. So he started with one health condition. I think it was diabetes. Then he ended up with heart disease, had several heart attacks and stents put in. Then he had a stroke. Then he had another stroke. His diabetes got really bad. So all of these comorbidities, one after the other. And when I say compounding, if he had just the one, his quality of life would have been a lot better at the end. But because these had all affected each other, by the end, he was struggling to walk in extensive amounts of pain.
Like diabetes leads to heart attack, and then that leads to something else. And that leads to something else.
And he always used to say to me, he goes, when my time is written, it's written. He goes, I say, okay, but I get that, Father, I get that.
Take the means.
But the quality is in your hands. You can choose.
With Allah's permission,
Yeah, with Allah's permission. You could choose to die in your bed, or you can choose to be running around the grandkids. If you keep yourself healthy and fit, no one's limiting that.
Yeah.
That is not limited in your taqdeer, that you cannot achieve X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, that bar would be close to you. That upper bar would be told that you can only achieve so much khalas. We have the ability to achieve physically a lot, but it's up to you. And you know what's sad? You know what's really sad? If you're unable to see your potential. Imagine that 65-year-old guy's thinking to himself, man, I could have done that 500 kilo deadlift, or I could have been this strong, or right now I could be on holiday with my grandkids. That regret that you're going to have at that point, but you've not achieved the potential that you could have had. Because once time's gone, it's gone, isn't it?
But what really kind of puts into perspective for me, because people are thinking you're 65, I'm not 65 right now, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 20. Like that, the nerve injury I had, the nerve issue I had, it caused me so much pain for a week and a half. I just was not able to do basic things. And I remember that when I had that, I was just sitting thinking, Ya Allah, protect me. Because imagine some old people feel that every day.
Yeah.
There's people who die, like type 1 diabetes, they feel that often.
I had one guy, he's 45. He goes to me. He know how he helps the pain. He runs to the door and smashes his shoulder on it. I said, excuse me. He goes, I'll show you. He ran full blast with his door and smashed his shoulder again. I said, wow, okay, I'm surprised you're not injuring yourself further. He goes, this is the only thing that's giving me relief.
I think it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't have to be that way.
So then when it comes to training, then what are your what's if you could, because people complicate it. If you could, in a very simple, concise way, you just say, look, this is my advice for strength training and cardio or anything else that I might be missing here, just articulate it for us in a simple way.
In terms of cardiovascular training, any thought of cardiovascular training that will help keep your heart rate low. Yeah. Aim for between 60 and 70. Most people, most ages. Yeah. Most people, most ages.
As in during the exercise?
Just general. Resting heart rate.
Okay, so you want to get your resting heart rate 60?
Between 60 and 70.
And how do you do that?
So again, any exercise that works. There are many. You can go running. Some people prefer running. Some people prefer
obviously
swimming.
During the running, your heart rate will go up.
Yeah, it will. And there's different ways of doing it. And it depends on timing as well. This is a very broad subject. And it requires different explanations. I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you've got hip problems, you've got knee problems, and you're elderly. You can't go for a run. The impact might make things worse, might make things harder, might make things more difficult. So for you, I probably recommend swimming. Because with swimming, low impact on the joints, good for your joints. You can really get the cardiovascular fitness done as well. Someone like yourself who has less time, 20 minutes a day on Stairmaster, that's going to sort your heart rate right out, shred you out. You're going to look amazing. You're going to feel great. Your heart rate's going to come down.
So currently right now, since we started doing MMA, we've been training for we did a 2-hour session the other day. And I was shocked that we did 2 hours. And I sweat more than I've sweat in Allah knows how long. And I had great fun.
Yeah.
It seemed like I was doing a cardio workout. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would that suffice me? Because
do you know what of the best forms of exercise is?
Which is?
I'll go back to the beginning of the conversation. Sex. It's one of the best forms. If you're having sex 10 times a week, you probably don't need too much of the cardio. Yeah, so it can be fun. It can be engaging. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't just need to be the grind. You can definitely do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right when you say that. Well, I said to myself, I genuinely do not enjoy weightlifting. It's not fun at all. I do it because I have to.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed MMA. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I loved it. And it was intense.
Yeah.
And I feel like I worked harder in that than I did. Of course.
And it's very functional.
It's very functional.
Why I say to people, look for something functional in your life that will give you exercise. Zarir.
Like even paddle, for example. Playing paddle, I'm sweating like a
Yeah.
donkey at the end. Is that cardio?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. You're sweating because you're exerting yourself. You know, Zareen, he does calisthenics.
Yeah.
And the guy does 45 pull-ups.
Yeah. For those not familiar,
Yeah.
Today is one of the other members on the Child My Bad panel.
Yeah. 45 pull-ups, guys. This is not, I think he does this. He does 45 pull-ups for his warm-up. Now, that's insane. Like, his cardiovascular fitness is through the roof for his anyway. He's a free diver.
Yeah.
So for him, his cardiovascular fitness is on a different level. But then his strength levels, people don't appreciate how strong, because he doesn't look strong. When you meet, if you ever meet Zareen, guys, he's a very slim, average-looking guy. He doesn't even look particularly athletic. But this guy does 45 pull-ups as his warm-up. He does muscle-ups like they're nothing.
He's 40 years old, brother.
Yeah, 40 years old. This is what I want to mention. He's 40 years old. He looks so young, mashallah. But he's doing this, and that's probably the best type of workout, calisthenics. You're using your body weight to resistance strain. Great for mobility as well, good for your joints, and very, very functional.
Don't need to be at the gym.
Don't need to be at the gym. You can be, but you don't need to be.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, it's very functional. Very functional.
So strength training and cardio.
Yeah. If you want to mix it all together, calisthenics.
Calisthenics.
Do calisthenics.
Calisthenics is cardio as well.
Yeah, a lot of cardio calisthenics. Yeah. It's very, very intense. Yeah.
Very
I'd say
good.
calisthenics. And if you want to really do the best, sort it out with the missus. That's the best one. You know.
Jamil, there's actually so much more I wanted to discuss, but we've run out of time.
Wallah, what time is it?
We've run out of time, yeah.
Subhanallah.
It's going to be 2 hours any minute.
Ya Rab.
So what we will do is misunderstanding prophetic medicine and the relationship between neuroscience and the heart. I think what we'll do is we'll make a whole episode on that, inshallah. And I think that'd be good because we can prepare for it a little bit better as well.
Yeah, sah,
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here, bro.
It's been an honor, actually.
I think this has been very, very interesting. And I just want to mention here before I let you go, I want to create a social contract here with you. Yeah, to release this podcast.
Yeah.
Right. So when's it coming out?
You tell me, whatever you want to release it.
No, yours.
Oh, my one, inshallah. I'm hoping probably by next week. I'm gonna do the filming this week.
Yeah.
And then more than likely next week. I'm just working on a little bit of the technical side of things.
Yeah.
How I want to format it. Whether I'm gonna have like the Huberman style black background, or whether I want a specific type of setting. Because I think it matters. I think Huberman is just Huberman because of him. It's because of the setting he uses, the way he does it all. He engages you. So I want it to be engaging.
So the audience can comment whether they think the background is going to be more important or him actually speaking.
They can do, yeah. But yeah, I certainly want to I want to do it right.
So we're making a social contract that next week you'll have an episode out.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. It'll be weekly?
I'll try. I'm a busy guy.
Fortnightly.
Maybe. It's, I won't decide on that yet because I want to make every episode count. I want to make sure they're engaging, they're good. And I'm new to this. So it means...
one of the easiest ways to do it, I think the way Huberman does it as well, he's got a research team, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can find someone through social media, maybe someone watching this podcast, who's maybe like a student right now, he's doing his master's, doing his PhD, or even just
potentially.
doing a degree. He's like, look, I will help you with research.
Yeah, good shout actually. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're optimized. Live by design.
Live by design, yeah. MashaAllah. Live by design.
I got from Fawaz.
MashaAllah. Yeah, good shout actually. Yeah, I never thought of that.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
So I can almost guarantee you'll find a person. So can we have a fortnightly episode?
We'll try our best, inshallah. We'll aim for it.
We need a commitment.
Yeah, sorry?
We need a commitment.
Sorry?
We need a commitment.
We need a commitment, subhanAllah. Okay, I tell you what, I will commit to definitely a monthly episode. Definitely. Okay? Because I know I can achieve that. And then I will push myself for the fortnightly. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah? And if, in fact, I tell you what, if the first video that comes out is popular, then I will definitely go for the fortnightly. I'll make the effort behind it.
I think this also is a thing that compounds over time. People are going to see that there's knowledge, and I think it will help you in your business overall.
And that is the aim, to be fair. It's one thing I want to do is I love this. So Huberman has this philosophy, where he wants to create an environment of education and knowledge base that is free to access to everybody. That's why he does it through YouTube. He doesn't charge. It's all free to access and it's there. And that's why I want people to have the access to that. These conversations that we've had now, these are conversations that people shy away from.
And what I love about this is that there's so much here that's connected to things that are Islamic. Like, for example, like we just talked about in the gym. I can't imagine Andrew talking about that, with all due respect to him, because I don't really think that that's an issue for him.
No, it's not. And I would say everything we do is linked to our Islamic perspective.
100%.
Everything. You know, and you know, oftentimes,
There's many things pertaining to feminism here and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
you know, absolutely. So yeah,
Brother Imran, it's been an absolute pleasure. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless you in this life and the next.
I mean,
It's been truly enlightening, and I really, really, really want you to take the social media thing fully, because I believe it's going to really be a huge benefit for the Ummah.
inshallah.
I believe it with certainty. I really do.
Inshallah.
Like-
I'll push myself.
What Huberman does is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's helping humans in general. You'll be helping the slaves of Allah,
Inshallah.
like one level above, you know, like as in.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
With that said, people, may Allah love you in this life and also in the next, and honor you with paradise
Ameen.
and seeing his face. With that said, subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.